Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So the new rankings have just been released, and of course automatically I'm looking at WBC heavyweights because there's been a little bit of talk recently about WBC have potentially dropped Dillian Whyte from the number one and replaced him with Dominic Brazil, as they want Dominic Brazil to be their mandatory. Why? Because Mauricio Suleiman, Al Heyman, very clicky, right? Now, with the rankings come out, the first thing I did was look at who's number one, and thankfully Dillian Whyte is still number one. Thankfully, but I mean, Dominic Brazil is still the mandatory. But you know what the hell can we do about it? So let's do a little bit of a comparison, shall we? Now, as of right now, Deontay Wilder the champion, of course, and as I've just said to you, Dillian Whyte is, of course, number one. So his position hasn't changed. Of course, he's just beaten Joseph Parker. Speaking of Joseph Parker, he was sixth before, and now he's lost to Dillian Whyte. He's still sixth. I'm not quite sure how that works out, but to be honest, I agree with it. I think that out of everybody on this list, I think that Joseph Parker, even though he's come off of a loss, is probably a good position for him to be in, or at least top 10 anyway. Now, what is interesting though is that they have promoted Luis Ortiz to be number two. Now, previously he was number four, and they have actually removed Alexander Povetkin from the WBC all together. Now, I know that he's got a title fight coming up with Anthony Joshua for all the other belts, of course, but what if between now and then the fight doesn't happen? You know, so it's a bit premature to be removing him, but ultimately if the fight goes ahead, it's probably the right decision. So win, lose or draw. Well, no, actually, if he draws, he'll still be ranked by the WBC, right? Or he should be. But if he wins, he becomes champion. Obviously, that removes you from the WBC. If you lose, again, you drop. But Luis Ortiz, he lost to Deontay Wilder. Then he had a fight with Razvan Kajanu in a fight that obviously he was going to win. And now they've bumped him up to number two. But yet, Alexander Povetkin, so if he lost, surely he should only drop, what, one place or two places? As that's what they've done with Luis Ortiz, right? Not remove him totally. Now, Luis Ortiz is, of course, number two right now. Now, number three, Dominic Brazil. He was number two. So again, I'm surprised. So he's the official mandatory, right, for WBC, but they have dropped him from second place to number three. Now, Dominic Brazil, of course, he's been waiting for a fight, and you know, he's been hanging around in the shadows waiting for Deontay Wilder. He's been promised a fight with Deontay Wilder, but you know, things keep on happening where Wilder could be fighting somebody else like Anthony Joshua, then he could be fighting somebody else, and now it looks like he could be fighting Tyson Fury. So Dominic Brazil has been inactive because of a lot of that. So he's actually been dropped to number three, and number four is Tony Bellew. Since the last lot of rankings, Tony Bellew has not had a fight yet. He's been promoted to number four, and he's never going to fight a heavyweight. So almost what is the point of ranking him by WBC? It's almost a waste of a position, to be perfectly honest. I know he's beaten David Haye twice, but what is it that David Haye done to warrant Tony Bellew getting a fourth position in the WBC? I don't quite understand that. For me, I see it as they're making it, or they're padding out the WBC, so if Wilder was to have a voluntary, then there's a lot more easier fights for him. I think that's pretty much what they're looking to do. Now, number five, Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury looks like he could be fighting Deontay Wilder next, and Tyson Fury was before, he was eighth. So, no, sorry, he was seventh before. So now they've moved him up two places. Again, even though he hasn't had a fight. So basically, after 2.5 years of not fighting, not going to the gym, all this weight and mental issues and all this kind of thing, he has one fight against Sefer Seferi, of all damn people, and they automatically put him in at number 7 for WBC. He hasn't had a fight since. We know he's got one coming up against Pianeta, and then they bump him up to number 5. Why have the WBC done that? To make it look like Deontay Wilder is going to breathe through their number 5 in the world. Right? That's why they've done it. Of course it is. It's obvious. So it's absolute shambles. For me, I mean, 2.5 years out the ring, I know he's lineal champion and all that, but he's lineal undefeated because he hasn't been fighting for so damn long, right? So beating Sefer Seferi gets you ranked number 7 by the WBC, and yet plenty of fighters out there has done way more over the past couple of years and are not even ranked by the WBC. But Tyson Fury comes in, gets ranked number 7, does nothing, and gets moved to number 5 to make it look like Deontay Wilder is going to be a number 5 WBC guy. We know what you're doing, Mauricio Sulaiman. We know. Okay? So congratulations to you and Al Heyman for pulling the wool over quite a few people's eyes, but not these ones. So anyway, number 6, as I said, Joseph Parker. He keeps his position as number 6. Ajit Kabiel is in fact number 7. Now, on the previous one, he was number 10. I'm not too sure what it is that Kabiel's done. The last time I seen him fight was against Dereck Chisora, where he beat him. So I don't know what he's done, so I can't really comment. Maybe he's had another fight or two. No idea. Number 8 is Dereck Chisora, obviously fresh over a win over Carlos Takam. So he's moved into the top 10, whereas previously he was ranked number 11. So well done to Dereck Chisora. And just below him, we have number 9, Charles Martin. Again, Charles Martin, he's got a fight coming up with, in fact, he's actually dropped a place. He was number 8 before, but he's got a fight coming up with Adam Kownacki. And that's an interesting one, because Charles Martin, number 9, Adam Kownacki, number 10. So that is a good fight to have. They're going to be having that on the Garcia versus Porter undercard. So that would be an interesting one. Number 11 is Oscar Rivas. Oscar Rivas was number 13. So again, has he had a fight since then? I have no idea. And to be honest, I've never even seen him fight. Andy Ruiz Jr. moves into the top 15, number 13. And rightfully so. For me, Andy Ruiz Jr., he had a world title fight with Joseph Parker for the vacant WBO belt. He did go inactive for a while, but he's had a couple of comeback fights since, and now he's in the top 15, so excellent stuff. I'm pleased for Andy Ruiz Jr. Number 14, Marius Wack. Now again, I don't know what it is that he's done since he lost to Jarrell Miller, so no idea why he's there. Maybe there's a legitimate reason for it. And to finish it off, number 15, Johan Duapa, who of course wasn't ranked before. So again, has he had a fight since he lost to Jarrell Miller? I wouldn't have thought so, but maybe he has. I don't know. But the WBC, they seem to just make up the damn rankings as they go along. I mean, to keep Dillian Whyte in at number 1 but not the mandatory is an absolute disgrace. To move in Luis Ortiz as number 2 when he lost to Deontay Wilder and had one fight since against Razvan Kajanu and moved him to number 2. Behave yourself, Mauricio Sulaiman. Behave yourself. And Dominic Brazil down to number 3, fair enough. Tony Bellew number 4, again, what the hell. And Tyson Fury number 5, that's a big what the hell. Joseph Parker, keep him as a number 6, again, for me, as long as he's in between 5, I'll probably say between 5 and 10, I think that's probably about right. But Dereck Chisora, okay, fine. Now, I'm okay with the rest of it, to be honest with you. I don't really have any real complaints about it, but Luis Ortiz number 2, stop it, man. Please stop it. That's Mauricio Sulaiman doing whatever it is that Al Heyman wants him to do, because we know that Al Heyman owns the WBC. We know that he does, Mauricio Sulaiman. We know that he does. Okay? And again, that's why you've moved up Tyson Fury. You think we're stupid. We ain't stupid. So that is the WBC rankings. And I haven't noticed too much about anything else, other than the fact that Alexander Povetkin has been dropped altogether by the WBC. So again, that's a bit of a shambles in itself. Because what happens if he draws with Anthony Joshua? You know? What happens if the fight doesn't happen? Maybe Joshua or Povetkin gets injured. So that is what that is. Now, some of the things that I have noticed going across the other ones is that Dillian Whyte is in fact number 2 in the WBO. So of course he's kept his position, and once the Joshua Povetkin fight happens, he will maintain that position. And that's right behind Jarrell Miller as well. So maybe the WBO will order Whyte versus Miller for a next mandatory, which is set for another 18 months. Dillian Whyte has no real luck, does he, when it comes to mandatory, right? As far as the IBF goes, again, number 1 not rated because they're waiting for Kubrat Pulev versus Hughie Fury. Now, it's interesting, though, that they've dropped Dillian Whyte from their rankings altogether, but didn't drop Jarrell Miller, when Jarrell Miller also refused Kubrat Pulev. Weird that, isn't it? But anyway, what can you do? The rankings are what the rankings are, but for me, the ones that stand out, WBC, what an absolute shambles. What an absolute shambles. Every day you guys expose yourself as just crooks, to be honest with you. I mean, you guys are just losing more and more credibility. Very soon the IBO is going to have more credibility, or the WBU is going to have more credibility than the WBC. unless of course you start making your champions fight legitimate contenders and stop all the cherry picking with your heavyweight one and stop messing about with the WBC ranking system. It's absolutely outrageous. Whoever's in control of all this don't know boxing. Does not know boxing. I'm sorry, but he don't. He's absolute trash. Anyway, you drop your thoughts below. Click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.